What's up, gang? And welcome to the Insignificant Show. I am your host, Dro, and joining me today, I have a special guest, my friend Chris Van Buren.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you for joining us, Chris.
No problem.
So, for our first episode, just in time for Halloween, we decided to talk about paranormal experiences. Ghosts, are they real? Do you believe? Do you believe in life after death? These are questions that we'll never really get the answers to. So, today we're going to be talking about ghosts, spirits, the paranormal, seeing if you've ever had any experiences with it. I'm actually bringing Chris on because we've talked about this before, and himself, just as myself, we both have had some experiences with the paranormal. So Chris, tell us a little bit about you and what you experienced and when you experienced this.
Well, I actually experienced this quite a lot when I was younger. In the old house we used to live in, when I was probably, I want to say about 6 or 7 years old, was when like the height of the crazy stuff was happening. Cars were going around in the middle of the room, in the middle of the night, no batteries in them. The remote control was up on the dresser, wow, and just going around in the circle in the middle of the room in the middle of the night.
Just by themselves?
Just by themselves, yeah. No batteries, no anything in it, which, how does it get power? It's kind of weird.
Right.
And there was another instance where my parents woke up in the middle of in the morning, and they usually have a knife set that they used to stick on top of the fridge to keep out, away from us and my sisters, because we were young. Mm-hmm. Woke up in the middle of the day and found a knife, one of the big, huge butcher knives, sitting in the middle of the floor. They don't know how it got there. Nobody was up in the middle of the night. We can't reach it. My sisters can't reach it. Just sitting there in the middle of the floor. It's kind of a weird...
It's a little scary.
Yeah.
That's a little scary. God forbid somebody would have, picked it up in the middle of the night or stepped on it or...
Exactly.
Wow. That's crazy. And how long did you have these experiences for? Like, how many years were you guys in this house?
I want to say till I was about 13 years old.
So from 7 to 13. So you're talking 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you couldn't even stay in the house. You feel something's watching you. You feel like there's a presence there. The attic was the scariest place.
I can imagine.
Well, because of you watch movies and stuff like that, so
right.
Automatically,
right.
The attic was the scariest.
That's crazy. So you really felt more like a negative energy presence.
Yeah, there was a negative energy for sure. Yeah, we actually had a medium come into the house, mm-hmm, and they shared some of the stories about the spirits that were there. There was a little boy that would go into the middle in the corner of the room and cry. There was a window in our bedroom that we had no idea that was there until he showed up, and he was like, "There's a window here. The boy wants to get out of the window, and it's been covered up, so he has no escape." Mm-hmm. So we went over to the, you could feel it's hollow where there was a window there, so there was some truth to that. Just some weird stuff.
Wow. And how many spirits does she claim?
I think there was 3. One was a bad spirit. It was an older man, bald head. She said that he was angry, that he had some stuff that he left, unfinished business.
Right.
And stuff that he was angry about. And
right.
He was one of them. The little boy was another, and then there was a third. I forgot what the third was, but...
Either way, it's still scary to think. Once you guys moved, did all that stop?
Once we moved out, no. There was some instances in the new place that we moved into, kind of like, something followed us there, mm-hmm, where my sisters were experiencing a man pinning them down on their bed, on top of them, mm-hmm, and they could feel them, but they couldn't move, they couldn't scream, they couldn't,
Yeah, it's like the sleep paralysis.
Kind of like a sleep paralysis, yeah. But they claimed that it was a spirit that was holding them down, that they could actually see the figure there.
Wow.
Unexplainable.
That's crazy. And I've heard of instances where you get followed.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's attached not just to the physical property, but sometimes it's actually attached to the person or an item that you may own, something like that. It could follow you. Mm-hmm. But that's crazy. I mean, the only time I've ever felt a negative presence myself was when I was younger. I was visiting some family in Puerto Rico, and my aunt lived in a really, really old house. And we're having a sleepover, It was me and a couple of my cousins, and the only thing that I remember from that night was I just felt an eerie presence, right? Mm. With us, it was more like, okay, so there was the candle of like the Virgin Mary. You know, most Latin countries, Catholics, they have Virgin Marys everywhere. So there's a candle of Virgin Mary that was lit up, and one of my cousins started talking about how the house was haunted. I was like 8 years old at the time. I'm like, yeah, that ghosts aren't real. I don't believe in it, right? Yeah, well, that didn't hold so much true that night, because that night definitely made me a believer. Once we started talking about it, we kept hearing some knocking noises. We'd hear some growls coming from the corner of the room. Obviously, it was just us in there. And then around like 1 in the morning when we were all there, we kept hearing some scratching noises. So when we got up, we literally saw the candle move from one corner of the window where it was at, just drag itself to the other corner. That's all I needed. I know you had out of there. I know you had little toy cars running around and everything in circles. That I would have shot myself right there. I saw this. I screamed like a little bitch. I woke up my parents, told them what happened. They told me I was having a bad dream. My cousins were like, "No, we saw it too. Like this is, yeah." That was the first and last night I stayed at that house.
I bet.
But it was the only time where it felt like malignant. You know. Yeah. I don't know. There's so many experiences, you know, that we go through, and we don't know what's out there. We don't know what's beyond, you know, when we pass. Yeah. But anyways, going back to your situation, how long did the activity, would you say, keep going on until it stopped at the new place?
Till it stopped, I want to say once, maybe I was about 17, 18 years old. My parents started going to church more. Okay. I think it was just a lot of the family's negative energy, you know, because we had a lot of stuff happen when we were younger. So yeah, I think it was negative energy feeding, you know, whatever was on the other side, and you know it was coming on stronger. And so once they found their center and their spirituality, and you know everything was back to normal, I was, you know, a lot older. That's when I feel like it subsided a little bit more, because there wasn't that negative energy, you know, feeding the other side.
Yeah, especially if you have a negative entity. From what I've read, is that it feeds off that your fears, your anger. It feeds off all that negative aura, and that's something that you definitely want to try to compose yourself. You know, even when I lose it and I get angry, I try my best to just keep myself calm, keep myself centered, to not blow up a situation, you know, because again, we're feeding into entities that feed off of that. Have you had any experiences recently, like with this, or no?
Well, we think we have a ghost dog in our condo. Okay. You know, every once in a while you just see like a little white blob out of the corner of your eye, and you look and it's gone. It's not there. And, you know, we think it's Happy, because Happy is our Chihuahua. She's a little white dog. Okay. And we think it's her, but she's like laying right next to us asleep, and the other one's on the other side. So, you know, just weird. Wow. Yeah. That's why we think it's a dog. You know, it's little, it's small. It's probably about the size of a 10-pound dog. So.
That's funny. Well, at least it's something that's, you know, a playful entity, not, you know, something malicious. The only other time where I've experienced, you know, anything paranormal was actually in 2001. And it was right around the time when my grandfather passed away. So, you know, obviously I woke up to the news. My mother told me what happened. I was really, really close with my grandfather. So when he passed, I was devastated. I remember going into the room. I was just crying. And I felt a presence. I felt calm. And it wasn't just so much feeling the presence, but you know how everybody has a certain smell to them, you know. I could smell him. You know, so having that smell and having that feeling of calmness, you know, to me it kind of felt like him saying his goodbye, you know, and
that's cool.
And it was a way of like dealing with it, you know. Yeah. So that particular experience for me was more of a peaceful one, you know, which, you know, again, just kind of further led my belief into that there is something after we pass. You know, there is no nothingness. Yeah. You know, whether it's just our consciousness being transported to a different dimension, or stepping into another, to the spiritual realm. There's so many things that, again, we don't have the answers to. You could refer back to all types of beliefs, but at the end of the day, we don't really know. But to me, it was definitely a peaceful moment to accept that he had passed.
Yeah, that's awesome that he came back to, say his goodbyes pretty much.
Right, exactly. And that's something that gave me some type of closure. For his age, he was very healthy. He had his medication, stuff like that. But I would definitely thought he would at least go well into his 80s or even 90s. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah, I feel like there's, it's kind of like a gray area. You don't know what happens after you die.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered that. Like, how do you become the spirit that's stuck half between heaven and hell, if that's what you believe in?
Right. Like, how do you not revert to one side? How do you get stuck?
Yeah. It's kind of a weird thought. Like,
it could be a number of things. You could be in limbo. You can, like you said, if you have unfinished business, your soul's not able to rest, not able to move on. It could be from if you pass away tragically. One of the things that I've read a lot was that, especially children that have passed that don't know that they've passed because of the fact that they had a tragic death. So it's a number of different things that could keep you there. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on whether or not you know that you've passed, and then realizing, like, do I go towards the light? Do I not go?
Yeah.
Things like that. But it's something that's to be determined because we don't know what the hell happens. I mean,
until it happens.
We're all going to find out because that's a fate we can't escape.
Yeah.
But that's, until we make that transition, I guess we just kind of have to, hope for the best.
Right.
Yeah. So, and whether we meet our maker, don't meet our maker, whatever the case is, I'd rather be as good of a person as I can be and, come to find out that everything's all good to go than be a piece of crap that doesn't really care about the repercussions and then find out, oh, crap. Now I face a whole...
now I'm here.
Yeah, a whole eternity of punishment.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
Mine neither.
Right. But what do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe there's life after death? Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in having some type of paranormal experiences? Let us know what you think. Chris, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to follow us. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and you could expect us to release an episode about twice a month. And if you guys have any suggestions or concerns, please click it down in the comment section. So thank you guys so much. Please tune in to the next episode of The Insignificant Show with your host, Dro.